Welcome to Rise and Shine Daily Business Tech Boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and break them down into bite-sized tips you can use right away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Shine. It's your daily dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 402, and we're going to be talking about the importance of optimizing images before you put them up on your website. Now, there's a couple of reasons you want to do this, and the biggest two that I can point to that I get asked to resolve so many times is that your web page is loading slowly, or you are getting notices from your hosting provider that you're using a lot of bandwidth and you're going to use up your bandwidth allocation. Why does it impact it? That's a really good question. Let's start with the basics. When an image is loaded on a web page, it's displayed from the server, but to be able to display it on your device, whether it's your computer, your phone, your tablet, it has to download that data from the web server to your device. If your image is 1 megabyte in size, that's 1 megabyte of data that is transferred from your web server to your device. If you have 3 1 megabyte images on your page, that's 3 megabytes. Now, I know you're probably saying, but Charly, it's only megabytes, it's not gigabytes. We work in gigabytes now. Sure, we do for storage, but when we're talking about data transfer, we've only got skinny pipes. We don't have gigabyte pipes that go from a web server right down to your device. So they actually have to really be careful how much data is transferred across those pipes so that everyone can use it. But let's talk about it, because 3 megabytes, you're like, that's not much. No, it isn't. Not if we're talking about loading something up off of your computer, but we've got to download it to our computer. And that's one person. What happens when you get 100 people visiting your site and downloading those 3 1 megabyte files? That's 300 megabytes. If it's 200 people, it's 600 megabytes. The data transfer really starts to impact on how much on your allocation for your web server. It also impacts the speed. Transferring a megabyte of data across the internet might not take long, but it takes long enough. And when you are talking the difference in milliseconds between having a site that runs well and meets all of Google's performance requirements and all of the speed requirements that are needed for a website, and a couple of milliseconds for them not to meet that and to actually tank your ratings, that's where it becomes important. Why are images so large? That's probably a good question that you should be asking yourself, is why are my images so large? And it's something that I look at, and I do go and have a look. And typically there's 2 things that happens. The first one, the most common one, is people take a photo off of their phone and they just upload that image. Phones these days, most phones, some phones, some of you might be going, nah, that doesn't affect me. My phone doesn't have high-res photos. That's fine. If it doesn't, you still should check it. But most phones these days have really high-res photos. They take really high-res photos. I know that device that I just showed you, my minimum image size is 2 megabytes. That's the physical size of the file is 2 megabytes. I know I've got some on there that are 12 megabytes because they're really high res photos. And I've set them to be high res so that I can do things with them. So that's the first thing, is that you upload the files out of your phone without doing any manipulation or without having any tools that will reduce them down when they upload. The other reason they're big out of the phone and the file size is large is because the actual physical printed size of the image is really large. If you think about your screen here in front of you, I've got a 17-inch laptop screen here, which means diagonally, the largest physical image that would fit on there is 17 inches, and that would cover the entire screen. So it's and I don't know what the dimensions are this way. I'm not great with sizes, but just under an A4 sheet of paper, just under a sheet of paper, that would be the largest physical image size I could display on my computer without it clipping, without it doing anything, without me having to do anything on it, without me having to scale it. And of course, we don't want images that fill the entire screen generally. We want images that fill a box here and a box here, and maybe we have a banner behind with a bit of that covers the width of the screen. The files that come off of our phones are 12, 13, 14 centimeters. They're huge. Some of them go up to 27 centimeters. They're physically huge images when you print them. Yes, you can scale them down. If you actually have a look at the image dimensions on them, go and look at the information on them and look at the size of an image, the physical sizes of the physical dimensions of an image, it's huge. You don't need that on a web page. And there's a couple of reasons you don't need it on a web page. The first one is you're not going to cover the whole screen. You don't need something that big because it's physically too large to display. You have to scale it down to make it display properly. The second one is that the human eye, when you are displaying things on a web page, really can't discern much difference between about 100 dpi and greater. We used to say 72 dpi. We've raised it to 100 dpi because screen resolution's got so much better. Maybe it's a bit higher. The resolution of the images that come off of our phones are 600 or 1200 dpi. So that's dots per inch. How many little dots are there per inch to give us the resolution? On a screen, 100 dpi is about what a human eye can discern and not really see any difference once you start to increase that on the screen. That's why your images are typically large. And if it's not a photo that you're using, you might have gone and got something from a stock photo site, or you might have bought a photo from someone and said, I'm going to use that on my website, and you've got a really high-res one. You should get the high-res images because we can do more with high-res images than we can if they're low-res and we've got to size them up. If we've got a high-res image and it's a large image size, sizing them down is so much easier. You keep your quality of your image as you size them down. If you've got a small image and you're trying to size it up, you lose the quality. So that's the reasons why image sizes are large. How do we fix it? How can you, as someone who runs a website, who uploads images, who does things, fix that or alleviate those issues? Couple of things. Make sure the website that you are uploading to has a tool that will optimize the images. Now, if you're talking WordPress, there's a number of image optimization plugins out there. I use and love WPMU Smoosh. I actually use the Pro tools for those. So I've got WPMU Smoosh Pro. There are others that do similar. I haven't tested many of them. I tested a few and then I found Smoosh and went, this one works perfectly. And it still works. It still does what I need it to do. What those tools can do, if you configure them properly, is first of all, when you upload the image, it takes it from its really high resolution, the high DPI, so if it's a 1200 or a 600 DPI image, it takes it and it reduces it down to a DPI that works better or works effectively on a web server, on a display screen. It also takes out a lot of the padding information that's in there, and you don't lose the resolution, as much resolution on it. So it just takes out a lot. It optimizes it. It squashes it all together, and it makes it physically smaller. The file size physically smaller by doing that. The other thing it does is it can, if you set it up, resize the image that you are uploading. And it will take the large items, the large images, and it'll say, how wide do you want the widest image to be? Now, I typically set the widest image to be about 1024 pixels. Depends on the type of site I'm producing, but 1024 pixels, it's quite a large image even on its own. And it'll say, right, we're just going to resize down to that. So if it's 2,500 or if it's 12,000 pixels wide, we're going to reduce that down to 1,024. That does it. It sizes it down proportionately. It doesn't skew it, and saves that to the storage on your web server. Okay, so that's the first thing, is find a tool that will do that for you. Even if you do all these other things that I'm going to suggest you do, or these next things that I suggest you do, have that tool. That tool is just, it's the icing on the cake. You should do all these other things. Even if you don't do all these other things, that's going to help you immensely. If you do all these other things that I'm going to suggest, that's the icing on the cake. It just gives you that extra level of optimization that you can't, that's difficult to get anywhere else. The second thing you should do is physically resize your images before you upload them. Do the manipulation before you upload them. What do I mean by that? Don't take them from your gallery on your phone and say, upload from the gallery. Get yourself a tool set, Photoshop Express on the phone. There's a couple of other photo tools that will do it. Even just if you're on an Android, unfortunately, I'm sorry guys, I can't talk about iPhones particularly. I don't use them enough to give you enough information. I'd have to go and grab one and go and have a look at it. But on the Androids, the gallery function on an Android has a resize function, and you can save a smaller image, a smaller sized image on your gallery, and then upload that one. But go and do some manipulation. Reduce the file size down. Now, what should you reduce your file size down, or not the file size, the physical size of the image down to? If I'm looking at putting up photos that go on a web page, and I've got text and I've got a block, and then I have an image next to it, even if I've got an image like in the middle of a paragraph and text underneath it, I typically don't go higher than 800px wide. Why? Because it takes up a lot of room on the screen anyway. 800 pixels takes up a lot of room on the screen. Most images, once I get through and I've resized them and I've scaled them down, are somewhere between 300 and 500 pixels wide. The big images, 800 pixels, that normally takes up the entire width of a paragraph. If I'm looking at it on a screen, that's if I've got a boxed one. If I'm looking at a wide screen, like a whole width of screen display, I might go up higher, but they're the exceptions to the rules. Typically, if I'm uploading to my website just to put an image in to highlight a paragraph that I'm writing or to highlight a page, 800 pixels is as big as I'll go. And then normally I will have various sizes. I'll have 800 and 400 and 300 and 200, just to give me some variation. So I'm not putting a large image into a small spot, because if you put a large image into a small spot, still going to download that large image. If you can download an image size that fits better in that area, that's the thing to do. So use some manipulation tools on your phone or on your computer that let you do it. Photoshop Express is reasonable. In fact, it's probably better than reasonable. I'm just a Photoshop girl, so I use Photoshop, but Photoshop Express, certainly on the phone, I believe is free. Might be free on your PC. I'm pretty certain it is free on the PC, not sure about the Mac. Use the functionality that's within the gallery, edit the photos, hit the edit button and say resize. The other thing you can do is optimize them before you go up. And it might say, what DPI do you want to save this at? Or particularly if you're saving as a JPEG, .jpg file, 80%. You can save it at 80% on a .jpg, and there is typically, occasionally I've seen it, but typically you're not going to tell the difference between an 80% image and 100% resolution image once you've uploaded them to a website. And that's because the resolution of the screen and the human eye can't discern those sorts of differences. The differences are too minute to be discerned once you start displaying them on laptop screens, on screens. The longer technology is out there and the more technology improves, the more that's going to be less true, but it still holds true today. Okay, so they're the things that you can do to optimize images when you're using them on your website, when you're uploading them, when you're starting from scratch. What do you do now if you've got a website and you're pretty certain that you've got large images there, and you're pretty certain that that's what's causing you issues, or how do you work that out? I would put one of those tools on, one of those if you're working on WordPress specifically, put on one of those image optimization tools and run it. It will normally give you a report that says you've got these images, these are large images, these ones where you can get some benefit from. Try them out, see how it goes. What I would actually recommend, however, is you don't just go and say, put it on and go, yeah, just optimize everything. Do some dry runs, have a look at it, do some assessment before you make changes to your live site. If you aren't certain, reach out to your IT person, reach out to your Webby, reach out to your VA who does that. If you don't have someone, reach out to me. This is what I do for a living. This is what my team does for a living. We're here to help you. I'd love to be able to help you, but if you've got people who can do it, reach out to them first. If not, give me a call. I'm here to help. I'd love to help you out. And then when you get that audit trail, then you can make some decisions as to whether you want the tool to do the optimization, whether you want to actually do the optimization yourself and reload the image, delete it and reload the image yourself. There are any number of ways of resolving it, but they would be the things that I would be looking for. If you've got slow load times, if you're getting messages about my bandwidth, you're using a lot of bandwidth, they're normally the quick fixes and the things that trip a lot of people up. Image manipulation, getting your image sizes right, getting them optimized properly can be an art. It's an art that can become a habit, and that habit is going to help you get a website that works really well. All right, guys, what do you think? Have you noticed these problems? Do you have questions on it? Image manipulation is one of those things that, you don't think about it, you just do it. And then someone says, have you thought about this? You're like, I don't know what you mean. Have I given you some things to think about, to go and look at? What are you going to do based on what I've given you here today? Let me know. Leave some comments below wherever you are watching or listening to this video. Come and join the conversation on my locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com. I would love to have you there. You can send me a DM on any of my social media channels. I will respond to you. I'm a bit slower in responding to social media than I am other things. Come and visit my website, askcharlyleetham.com. Apart from that, if you can remember to like this video, I would truly, truly appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.